Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the tribe, instead of doing my usual kind of educational tutorial videos, I want to take a break from that for a little bit and kind of talk to you guys with a little bit more of a personal touch. And what I feel like talking about today is how I lost my gains on a vegan diet. Now, this is a thing that people have a great fear of, and I can't say it's not warranted, right? So, hear me out here. Now, before I was vegan, I was around 185 to 180 pounds. Now, when I went vegan, I went from that 185 to 175, 170, right? Now, in doing that and losing that 10 pounds, I went through this weird kind of borderline skinny fat type of body, right? I lost a good bit of strength and muscle, right? But my body fat was still around 14%, 15% around. And it was 14 to 15% at 185. So I lost the weight, but I didn't drop body fat. So now hearing that, if you were thinking about going on a plant-based vegan diet, you may say, oh wow, thanks for letting me know. Good thing I didn't do that, right? But here's where the story changes. There's a little bit of a plot twist. You see, because just because you go on a vegan diet does not necessarily mean that you're going to preserve all your gains. You're going to be gaining endless, infinite amount of muscle. You're going to lean down and be stage ready or whatever people think, right? Just simply going plant-based is not the end-all be-all. You still have to eat with strategy and intelligence, right? Because check this out. Oreos are vegan, but you're not exactly going to get the body of your dreams by eating Oreos. Right? So I'll tell you what the pitfalls were and the mistakes that I made. Now, I went plant-based with the mindset of an omnivorous diet. So basically what I did was I just cut out meat, dairy, and eggs, cheese, and all that type of stuff. I cut all of that out. So I was under eating. Hence me losing the weight, right? Calories in, calories out, pretty much. So I wasn't getting enough protein. I also wasn't getting enough carbs. I wasn't getting a lot of stuff. So I dropped the weight and I went through this weird skinny fat phase. Right? And I show you guys that in my before and after picture. There. But you see, the after is when I did my research, my learning, got my education on, and I turned things around. The after picture is still on a vegan diet, and I continued to lose weight, and I dropped down to 165, right? 160, 165 at 7% body fat. Woo! So, I lost an additional 10 pounds on top of the initial 10 pounds. But the only difference is that this time around I dropped to 7% body fat. So I was 167% body fat. So I looked bigger, but I was 10 pounds lighter. Because when you're leaner, you just look bigger than you would if you were skinny fat, right? Or at least if you do it right. So I know a thing or two about physique development. So the way I did that was I said, you know what? Instead of thinking about foods in terms of macros, where it's just protein, carbs, and fats, you got to go a little bit more nuanced than that. So rather than thinking of foods in terms of protein, carbs, and fats, I thought of foods in terms of fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, grains. So there's 5 categories. Right? And so what I would do is every day I would target these 5 categories of food. So with this, along with actually tracking my food, I was using MyFitnessPal at the time, just so I can develop some type of eating habits. If you're trying to really transform your physique, one thing I highly recommend that you do is track your intake, track your food. So I did this. So I was eating enough calories, I was eating enough carbs, I was eating enough protein, I was having enough fats. Right? I knew what macros to target, and I knew what food types to target. So before I move forward, let me just repeat. Rather than thinking of foods in terms of protein, carbs, and fat, if you want to successfully do a vegan, plant-based diet, then you want to think of food in terms of those 5 categories, right? Fruit, vegetables, nuts and seeds, greens, legumes. 5 categories. And then track your calories, right? Use a tracking app. MyFitnessPal is free to use. Download it right on your phone. Very simple to use. And you can also use Chronometer, and I'll put a link to that below. So, and I got the results pretty fast when I did this, by the way. This was within a 3-month period. I wasn't even necessarily doing like a strict dieting when I did this. But what else I did, aside from the 5 categories and the food tracking, was I also did intermittent fasting, where I had an 8-hour eating window and a 16-hour fasting window. I've even done this with a multitude of different clients. Right? I've done this with people who were extremely obese, people who just wanted to lose an extra little bit of body fat. I even did this with people who were trying to gain muscle. Right? I did this with skinny fat people. I did this with all types of people. Right? And it works for a wide array of people. And this is so that you can eat loosely and you can even be in a calorie surplus without gaining body fat. So those are the three things: the 5 categories, the tracking the food, right, and then the intermittent fasting. Now, there's specific ways you can do this, and there is a way to do this in a way where it is the most beneficial. You get the results quicker, but I'm not going to go through all of that in this video. If you really want to get the specific plan of how to do everything, well, you can reach out to me, and you can request a consultation to speak to me directly, right? And we can start working on reaching your goals and whatnot more specifically. All right, so I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But anyway, so that's what I did. And so, when I went vegan, I didn't go vegan, for the health benefits. I didn't go vegan because, I wanted to reduce my chances of heart disease. That's not why I did that. In fact, I didn't even learn about that perk until after I already went vegan. I went vegan for the ethical reasons, right? I saw slaughterhouse footage, and I heard slaughterhouse footage. Can't talk for the long. But anyways, I saw it, right? And you see like these cows and pigs screaming, and it sounds horrible. It's like one of the worst sounds you've ever heard. For my top 3 worst sounds is nails on a chalkboard, slaughterhouse footage, and babies crying. Not in that order. I guess if I wanted to put it in order, it would be slaughterhouse footage, babies crying, and then nails on a chalkboard. That would be in order, right? So the sound was horrible. Not even necessarily the imagery was horrible, absolutely. But the sound is the thing that stuck in my head the most. So if you really want to get the full effect of watching slaughterhouse footage to go vegan, watch with the sound on. But in any case, I did it for the ethical reasons, but I did have that fear of losing my gains. And you know what? That fear, I manifested that fear. What I didn't want to happen, that's exactly what happened. So I learned my lesson, and I recovered from it. So, you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made. And that's exactly how to do it. Well, not exactly, but that's more or less the gist of it, how to do it. Like I said, if you want to know the nuances of the plan, you want to get on the plan that worked for me and worked for my clients and things like that, you know, taking 2 to 4 inches off your waist in a month's time or 6 weeks time, and you want to do it without any hiccups. You want the plan just given to you in an efficient way. Well, then reach out to me. And having said that, I'll talk to you guys in another video.